Thing one tonight, Donald Trump Jr., the author of Triggered, shows us all once again what that word really means. When he got very upset over a story that his dad had his very short cameo scene cut from a Canadian broadcast version of the 1992 movie Home Alone 2. The scene, which is about 10 seconds long, occurs when Macaulay Culkin enters a hotel he learned about on the game show Ding Dang Dong, and then encounters Donald Trump in there on his way from doing God knows what. That scene was cut, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation says, for time. And it was cut way back in 2014 before Trump became president. They did it to fit commercials in. I think every sentient person is familiar with the concept. It happens with pretty much every movie when it goes to broadcast TV. Trump himself apparently tweeted about it, taking it in stride. But on Trump TV, it was the most outrageous thing since the war on Christmas.
But how bad is your Trump derangement syndrome for you to cut that out of a happy movie?
Well, I think they're actually terrified that people will remember that before he was the new Hitler, he was actually a beloved mainstream. And I think they're terrified of these little things that will remind people of just how deranged his opponents.
It's also censorship.
Oh, it's all of that, really. Donald Trump wasn't necessarily in Home Alone 2 because he was a beloved mainstream figure, however. It was more like that was the way you had to pay off Donald Trump if you wanted to shoot a movie scene at one of his properties. And that's Thing 2 in 60 seconds. For as long as anyone has heard of Donald Trump, it's been because he's worked so hard to make sure that you have heard of Donald Trump. Remember when he would pretend to be a publicist named John Miller and call up newspaper reporters to boast about his sex life?
And frankly, he gets called by everybody. He gets called by everybody in the book in terms of women. And, well, he gets called by a lot of people.
And then we made that man our president. So when the controversy erupted about Trump being cut from the movie Home Alone 2, we were reminded of a story actor Matt Damon told a couple years ago, which probably explains why Trump was in that movie in the first place. It seems Trump had a little arrangement he forced on movie companies. Damon says, quote, "The deal was that if you wanted to shoot in one of his buildings, you had to write him in a part. Martin Brest had to write something in Scent of a Woman, and the whole crew was in on it. You have to waste an hour of your day with a bull blank shot. Donald Trump walks in, and Al Pacino's like, 'Hello, Mr. Trump.' You waste a little time so that you can get the permit, and then you can cut the scene out. But I guess in Home Alone 2, they left it in." Now, Donald Trump has done a whole lot of cameos, and who knows how many movies he's been cut out of. And Matt Damon wasn't even in Scent of a Woman. So this is all just hearsay unless you had somebody who was, in the film itself, like, I don't know, maybe Chris O'Donnell.
We were explained to us that in order for us to film at the Plaza, we had a little walk-on part for Donald and Marla. What was amazing was he went through the whole, he came through hair and makeup, and he ate on the set. But he looked the same going into hair and makeup as he did when he left.
So wait, what part did they give him? I don't remember
it was nothing. It got cut out of the movie.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.